I feel like people don't really get libertarianism on the very basic level. Like it should probably be the simplest thing that you can explain to anyone is libertarianism. It's you let people do what they want, and this results in the greatest good. You know, you on a certain level, you got to be willing to work with people. But you only want to work with them to the point that they can, kind of take themselves up and go do their thing. It's really that simple. Why am I talking about libertarianism? Pretty simple. It's the only political party in America that seems to actually care about something other than drama. At least they have principles. I just kind of think, the conservatives, they completely disregard the libertarian politic in such a way that I almost feel like it's it to me screams like they would prefer the Libertarian Party not exist, while also kind of low-key feeling like it's good that people associate the two with each other. That's my general impression. And I more like to judge things based upon, or I should say, I'm more like to judge ideologies by the people who inhabit them. And I didn't used to be like this. I more used to be, very, very pure logical. I used to think, it's principles, but it's hard when, you can't operate on pure principles. You just can't. It would be nice, it's kind of a utopian ideal, thinking you can operate on pure principles. And obviously, there's a place for that. I'm not like against the idea of operating on pure principles, but you can't do it. You just can't do it. And what's happening in politics right now, I think, is putting that on display. And, if you think about it, America as a whole is sort of against the very idea of a pure principles politic. And why is that? Because we're not very smart. We're not smart in that way. I want to say there's like different kinds of intelligence, but I don't think people as a whole in America, at least, obviously I haven't really been to other countries, but I don't think we really want to operate that way. And screw it. Like maybe can I say the F word? Yeah, fuck it. I think, and I'd say, maybe fuck it. Like maybe we got a point. Maybe we got a point about that. Maybe there is a logic to this. I'm not against the idea of there being an actual logic to the illogic, but that can't last forever. It really can't. The American ethos, it works, it's convenient. I'm not inherently opposed to it, but you gotta realize everything's temporary. Method to madness or not, it gets redundant. People get tired of it, when enough people start to see this, as they're starting to, this election is not, it doesn't even feel real. It's just stupid. I'm sorry. And I mean, what's the point? Biden, Trump, they just stand for different like expressions of the American ego. Like why does this even exist? It's it's fun. It can be entertaining. Is that it? You know, I hate television. I hate all television. And the election just feels like television to me. You know, people are going to vote, obviously. And, you know, so what? It's just like it's like a festival or something. There's an interesting quote that I like. It's America is a decaying corpse. Conservatives are cheering for the corpse. Liberals are cheering for the maggots. It's really frustrating, you know, for anyone who does try to apply the pure principles thing. And even if you are going to use the whole illogic thing and just have this election, and it's very entertaining, I get it. You know, what's going to happen when people realize that this is just fanfare? That's just, it's a game that's being played by and for people who have control and just want to, you know, continue having that. I mean, George Carlin came and went. He explained all this. He passed away. Nothing changed. Nothing really changes, and that's what's happening. It's like it's almost like nature itself is just sick of it. And you know what I kind of want people to realize, basically, from this whole perspective, is the libertarian perspective is the original American perspective. No, it's shifted since then. It's moved a different way, and there's kind of there's a bit of a cover up. You know, there's people who are trying to make you think that this ethos has always been, when really it's a completely different ethos. So, you know, America is not necessarily decaying. It's kind of just your puppet of America that you propped up. That's what's decaying. No, your vision is completely clouded here. I'm sorry. I kind of thought for a while I wanted to make like a scripted video on the American ethos, and I eventually realized that this is a horrible idea. Because for all that I can say about it, there's a lot going for the United States. I mean, just stop thinking about the politics. Stop thinking about the economy. You know, Joe Biden this, blah blah blah. No, it's not supposed to be about popularity. It's not supposed to be about who's on top. It's supposed to be about the way this whole network just creates like more authenticity between people. I think this is deep in the American virtues. It's just basic authenticity. And so, you know, if your politician's gonna be your favorite baseball card, collectible, whatever, cool. I mean, if you're having a good time with that, if you can, you know, if you can crack open a few beers and, you know, have some fun talking to people about that, I guess it's good, it works. But is it really like that anymore? I mean, like, I'm sorry, but the cold hard truth is you gotta leave more to the next generation than this. This is not good enough. This new mic sucks. I'm just kidding. This was a free microphone. In fact, I want to get money from the company, so say good things. Say good things about this microphone in the comments. It's really good. So I think there's something to be said about this idea of the medium being the message. This is something I visit a lot. I know. It's important. And I don't just mean like symbolism. I mean, like, is the way we're doing things taking more priority over the way we're doing them? Then is the way we're doing things maybe more problematic than the problems we're trying to solve through doing them? So, like, you got the electoral system, you got voting, you got the media, you got all these things, and it's just a big happy family of, you know, information networks and people trying to figure out, you know, what's gonna make them write the name on the voting ballot. Have you considered electronic ballots, blockchain, something like that? Have you considered, you know, more more open-ended media networks, maybe something like that. I'm just saying there's some bugs. There's problems that need to be fixed, and there's just, if you're always attached to this very regimented format, it's only going to get you so far. You know, I'm not saying there have to be huge shifts. I'm just think about convenience. You know, there's simple things that prevent people from voting. There's simple things that, you know, maybe cause people to vote one way or the other. I'm just saying, a little bit of creativity goes a really long way. Really long way. So, you know, figure out what kind of ethos do you really want to preserve, and, you know, which ones are gonna be met with enthusiasm. You know, in alignment with libertarian ethos. I'm not trying to tell you how to run your country. I'm really not. Does it seem that way? I'm not trying to do that. I mean, I think it's sad. I think it's sad that what we've basically done right now is we have made a kind of intergenerational war. And it was an accident. Nobody tried to make this happen. I think it's more savable than we give it credit for. I'm usually more of, you know, cynical kind of personality, I guess. But for things like this, I think there's a lot of room for optimism. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be optimistic? Isn't optimism kind of part of the puzzle here? You know, nobody wants to have those Thanksgiving arguments every year. I don't think anyone likes that. I don't think that women want to have to think about the way they're approaching their dating life through a political lens. But I keep seeing that. I keep seeing these situations where the lady's asking on Reddit that my boyfriend said this. Should I stay with him? That's not fun. That's not a way to live. And, you know, I'm not blaming either gender here. That's not what I'm doing. I'm saying when the political and the personal become, you know, just like one, that, you know, they can intertwine. They can have some correspondence. You know, you want to have someone with values, but if you have to ask your social circle of anime profile picture people what they think about, you know, boyfriend number 6's opinion on the immigration issue, I'm just thinking maybe, you know, you should probably be thinking a little bit more about your own priorities. That's all I'm saying. But I don't know. You tell me. I'm reading more comments lately. Tell me, do you think the political and the personal thing is it too complicated? Can there be like a real correspondence here between the two, or is it just too much? I don't know. You know, America is actually going through its Pluto return right now. It sounds stupid. It's an astrology thing, but it's actually pretty important. I'm no astrologist, but if I were to venture a guess as to the essential theme of this 250-ish year transit, it would be resistance to change. Don't know what else it could really be, honestly. I mean, maybe astrology's not your thing, but it's kind of living proof that history repeats itself. I often think about things like movie theaters, Blockbuster Video. I think about things like who actually goes out to eat pizza anymore. I think it's grounding. I think a lot of these things we used to do a lot, I don't want to say exactly were necessary to keep us connected, but just having some familiarity, I think it brings people to a more clear state of mind. I used to really care about, like, you know, trying to get people to believe the right political things. You know, not on this channel so much. I mean, more like, obviously on this channel, more on the scripted videos. But I mean, interpersonally, like in my friendships, you know, I always felt like I wanted to get people to believe the sort of things that would, I guess, the sort of things that would kind of bring us closer to getting to the point where we could accept the changes that are going to be coming. Because, everyone's afraid of change. Everyone's afraid of things that don't make sense to them yet. And that's rational, But it would be irrational to try and rely on your fear to get you through that. I've even played a little bit of devil's advocate, like, I'll change my opinion with one person to another person just to try and get them to think, like, if your beliefs are not actually, bringing about the sort of thing you want, maybe you gotta shift a little bit, And I don't think this is disingenuous. I think everyone does this a little bit. If you're talking to your crush or something, you're probably gonna explain your beliefs a little bit differently than if you were talking to like someone you really disagree with, someone who is your rival or whatever. There's nothing wrong with like using rhetoric to make a point. That's the point of rhetoric. But I wouldn't want to talk to someone who can't seem to stop doing this. And I think that's kind of what's happening. I think that Americans are kind of getting high on their own supply, so to speak. So, you guys gotta do something about this. You gotta do something about this election. I'm not joking. I'm not saying this election is important. I'm saying the way that people approach this election is important. I'm pretty much just here to ask you, like, are you really thinking about what you want? Is what you want getting you what you want? I kind of think that people who say you should go read a book or whatever are actually being intellectually lazy themselves. And I know there's a place for that. There's obviously times where you should really just tell people to go read a book, but that doesn't cover the whole thing. Not to toot my own horn, but I had this one tweet a while ago I think was really good. Was if everyone is motivated solely by money, then no one is truly motivated by anything at all. And this is what makes me kind of like in this nihilistic phase. Like, if you just kind of see what everyone's trying to do and they're, doing this kind of manipulations, it kind of feels like we're not even talking about politics anymore. It kind of feels like we're just kind of showing off, I guess. I don't know. Someone told me once that show-offs ruin everything, and I think there was a lot of wisdom to that. But it's not just the show-offs that ruin everything. It's also it's the people that indulge that. It's a two-way street. Everything's a two-way street in some way. With like Hitler, you could say, oh, the German people were just very, they were in a situation, or they were coerced. You can make all these excuses. No, it was them too, I wouldn't even put that much blame on Hitler. This is probably my worst take ever. I should probably just stop talking, but I'm not going to. But, yeah, if people just allowed Hitler to do that, what if Hitler was just kind of doing what if he was just trying to be cool, What if he just wanted to be really famous? I'm not actually being stupid here. This is actually a good point. How many opportunities do you think there were to assassinate Hitler? Must have been, a couple dozen at least. But no, you can't call the German people totally the victims here. You can't say it's just all manipulation. That's too convenient. I don't want to get too deep into like this sociological materialism or dialectical process, but it's worth thinking about, especially if you're gonna be trying to examine the whole populist narrative in the United States, which is what I'm doing. I kind of feel like there is a little bit of a paradox here, just a little bit. But the paradox isn't really important. The important thing is you need to become aware of the things that create the situation if you want to change the situation, which I hope you do. But yeah, in a way, I feel like I don't actually even like politics. I almost wish I could do other stuff on this channel, but it's just a persistent fixation. And you know, if you want to get people to you got to meet people where they're at, is all I'm saying, in every context. And maybe one of my biggest points here is, if you can't do that, then, you know, don't even bother. But all the issues kind of just tie into each other. The longer I think about these things and analyze them, I start to see it in kind of all of our different ways of approaching social situations. And even though I like to take this simplistic mindset, I know the complications are they pile up. And I guess my persistent viewpoint, my persistent approach to dealing with this is not to address the problems themselves necessarily. I know that's what every other content creator likes to do, okay? But that's not what I do. And you know, you can try to get me to pick a side. It's not gonna work. I don't care who wins. I don't care who wins any of these elections. And the funny thing is, everything does eventually work itself out, but trying to force things to work themselves out, it kind of inevitably causes violence. I don't think you should ever assume that the people around you are necessarily above violence, especially people you don't actually really know. They say that the path to hell is paved with good intentions. I think it's often paved with assumptions, and one of the worst assumptions you can really make is just being too naive, I guess. That said, I wouldn't assume in the other direction either. I mean, if you think you're really clever and you just think that, you know, automatically other people around you have bad intentions, then that's another kind of naivete, I feel. So I guess the reason I'm always kind of stressing on self-improvement within this political realm is because we make this kind of intellectual shortcut where we assume that it's just about ideas, when it really is never just about ideas. It can never, this is what I started with, but it can never just be about the pure ideological realm. If you try to make it about purely the ideological, and you try to supersede the base human instinct, which is what we're all struggling with, you're kind of courting death. You want to say, oh, that's so dramatic and whatever, but no, like philosophy, Buddhism, these kinds of modes of thought that bring you into this pure objective state, they are the tools, and you need them. But the tools alone are not the objective. It's basic confusing the map with the territory fallacy. Buddhism was never about meditation. It was about you. It's about understanding everything that makes you who you are. And then I guess philosophy is like the other half, which is like, you know, as a person, you know, as a living human being, how are you going to now relate to everything else, everyone else? And you know, of course it's not easy. I'm kind of asking a lot here. I'm asking people to move beyond their assumptions and see that it's not going to be as easy as simply being correct. It's not enough to be correct, and it's not enough to just be a good person either. But I'm just the guy on the TV screen. You have to figure it out yourself, I guess. Guess I'm gonna conclude this video. I've never advertised my Patreon before, but I tried making another video similar to this. Decided to scrap it, but I will put that in any tier. I don't care. I don't want to gatekeep it that hard. But I'm not publishing it, so. Don't forget to dislike, don't forget to unsubscribe, don't forget that you even saw this video. And never do... never do anything that is drug related, because drugs will, I don't know, what do drugs even do? Probably nothing, honestly. Drugs do not exist.